Hey everyone, welcome back after yet another 2 weeks. Now we're back with another episode of Shunya One. This is episode 184. And today also we're going to be talking to someone who's very, very inspiring. We're talking to Mr. Tarun Katial, who's the founder and CEO of Eva World. This is his newest company. He's someone who's been hugely respected and been a pivotal, I would say, part of the media and entertainment industry in India over the last 2 decades. I've been part of some really, really iconic platforms and companies, pretty much spearheaded a lot of the, I would say, digital media success in India over the past many years. So it's great to be talking to him today. And of course, this stage of his journey, which is a brand new entrepreneurial product from him and his co-founders, and something very unique. The Eve World platform is actually something which is purely for women. And not only that, it's actually a Web3 platform. And that's also something I know we've had a few conversations about, but never really gotten in too deep into a real live product in the Web3 world yet. So looking forward to this conversation. It was a really good chat. I hope you enjoy it. Let's take a break and come back and talk to Tarun. Hi, Tarun. Welcome to Shunya One. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Looking forward to chat.
Thank you so much for having me. Just the title of your podcast got me intrigued, and I wanted to, spend some time talking to you guys about what we're doing. Primarily because the 0 to 1 journey happens only once in the lifetime of a company, and that's the time you can talk about it. After that, success takes over or failure takes over or whatever, and you don't really remember the early things that you ended up doing. Yeah.
No, perfect. Thank you so much. And exactly why sort of we exist. We also try to cover exactly the Shunya to 1, 0 to 1 journey, as the title mentions. And, to get started on that, Tarun, I mean, you yourself have been a part of some really, really obviously iconic sort of ventures, companies. You've been a leader in the industry for a long time. Could you give us a little sense of your personal background, which sort of led to what you're doing today? How did this come about for you? What were your motivations and inspirations, to go about and start something like, the Eve World platform and the Coto app and everything? Given that you have spent so much time, let's say, in so many various industries in the past. So if you tell us your journey a little.
I think, I've been very fortunate of almost being there at the right time at the right place for several years. In 2020, I finished about a couple of decades of doing what I was doing. All my experiences of running all of Star TV channels in India, running Sony Entertainment Television, and doing some having the fortune of doing some incredible work with shows like Just See and Indian Idol and Big Boss and Fame Gurukul and so on and so forth, and then launching Big FM across the country and being the first employee and trying to build a team and a brand that even today continues to do very, very well. And then being the founder CEO at Z5 and having the fortune to build a base of 100 million digital TV, digital to TV viewers, and really being able to see a scale in video streaming for an Indian player for the first time, both with premium content as well as with broadcast content, was incredible. But as I came to the end of those 20 years and end of 2020, I realized that I think while I've been entrepreneurial in most of my roles, because I think the 0 to 1 thing comes kind of naturally in my career or in my life, and maybe either I attract it or it's just so natural. Primarily because when I joined, say, Big FM, I was the first employee. At C5, I was the founder. At Sony, I came in when we needed to completely relaunch the channel. And even at Star Plus, in 1999, we decided to go fully Hindi. And then in middle of 2000 is when we launched KBC. And I had the fortune of being on that team and then leading that team and so on and so forth. So we've always had the good fortune of doing 0 to 1. But I wanted to do it as an entrepreneur. 1, 2, there was a personal journey that I wanted to make with women. I had an incident where my wife got fairly badly attacked on WhatsApp. Her number went public, and folks started to WhatsApp her and try to harass her, and so on and so forth. And that led me to realize that I think there was a big need for a non-toxic, equal opportunity play for women. And so we wanted to build out a dedicated, free, safe space for women to be able to do what they wanted to. A women first and women only platform that allowed women to build connections, have the right to free speech without having judgment, without being trolled, without being told what they must and mustn't do, and really a space where they could foster micro entrepreneurship. They could foster their own ambitions in trying to serve each other and serve themselves. So it's really starts from self-love, but then eventually their ability to to have a laugh, to find a friend, to find a mentor, to come and indulge in business. I mean, all kinds of things that women would like to do for themselves. So that was really the journey. We also realized that Web 2 to Web 3 was a transition to be made. We clearly could see that over the years, while social media had come about in the Web 2 format, and by Web 2 I meant where platform really traded on your data, traded on your privacy. Platform made all the money through all the advertising that they sold using your data, using your content, using all the hours that you put in building the network and inviting more and more friends on the platform, so on and so forth. And you build those flywheels of connecting with more and more folks. All of that value eventually was derived by the platform alone, and you didn't have any long-term participative ownership in it, right? Which is where I think we woke up to the reality that this couldn't be a Web 2 platform. We should harness the advantage of blockchain. We should harness the advantage of participative ownership, of being a platform that allows for women to decide its future collectively and together with us, being part of a platform that was fully autonomous and participative. And that's when the idea of Eve and Coto came about, which was that, we wanted to build something really was by the women, for the women, and owned by them too, right? So, and that's when, we decided to go Web 3, we decided to go on blockchain. We explored various different, use cases around blockchain. And today what we are building is very, very unique in terms of its ability go through the entire use cases on blockchain, whether it is privacy, whether it is participative ownership, whether it is being an autonomous organization, whether in the long term, it's also about building collective loyalty programs, collective shared value, so on and so forth, which is all done in a trustless manner, in an immutable manner on blockchain.
Wow. I would love to dig a little deeper on that, since, you're at the start of the journey, like you said yourself, but you have zeroed in on a particular kind of use case and product. So Web3 is this term which a lot of startups tend to nowadays, as you know, throw around. But I think what you just described, and if you could go deeper into it, is an actual ownership-driven community or ownership-driven, let's say, platform, for women. So what is it? What is the element that is, what's the initial use case you're solving for them? Like, what are you providing women or letting, them do here as the first product? If you could share that.
So 2 or 3 things. One, it's a community platform and not a social platform, typical social platform, right? We believe that communities are the way ahead. And it's really where people make connections with each other. It's really where people are able to find like-minded people and build value together. So it has a very strong participative ownership mechanism or program inbuilt as you build your community. So what really happens is that, you're building a community, right? You bring in users and so on and so forth. What do you get out of that? Today, nothing, right? So you build a community on WhatsApp, or you build a community on Facebook groups, or you build a community on Telegram, or you build a community on Discord. While
Yeah.
you go out and go out on a limb and induct people into that community, you don't really own any data on that community. You can't really easily communicate with that community. You can't really monetize that community in any form or fashion, right? And you're not incentivized in while building that community. And we change all of that, right? You own all your data in your community. If the community member is okay to give you data, then you own all the data. You get all the analytics and insights on your community. You can do both product commerce, service commerce, as well as any kind of monetization on your community yourself. And you have the right to do that, right? Even you can decide whether you want to play advertising or not play advertising, do brand collabs or not do brand collabs, sell products or not sell products, do social referral of other products, so on and so forth. So really, it is your choice in what you want to do with your community. And then most importantly, right, as you build your community, you get rewarded for building that community as a part of that, right? So we have a utility token that allows for you to get rewarded as you build the community, and that token can be used on and off the platform, and specifically on the platform for you to be able to buy into more premium features. You can liquidate that token in a closed network on exchanges. So you're really becoming a part of the platform through the token. And that's where your participation in the platform comes about. So every action of yours that you take in building volume on the platform gets rewarded through the token.
Wow. And what are some like early adopters of the community doing with this? What have you heard, or who are a few people who have sort of, you think, really utilize the mechanisms that you're providing?
So the beta goes live in about 4 weeks, but we have a large Discord community of women who have been onboarded to show the platform, to work with the platform, and people want to do everything, right from, like I told you, right from just connecting with like-minded women, finding answers to questions that they've had. Think about women and the issues that they would want to discuss, right? Tell me, where do women find a platform to discuss things like sexual wellness, things like menopause, things like PCOS, things like premarital sex, right? You can't do that on open platforms like Instagram or the other, right? One of the other big blockchain use case that we're implementing is zero knowledge proof. So we never take your data until you allow us to. And even if you allow us to, we will not give it to anybody else. And if you decide not to give your data, you have the opportunity to have zero knowledge proof, which is that only you know you're on the platform. Once you've onboarded on the platform, we take all your information and put it in a private key or in another platform whose private keys are owned only by you. After that, for us, you're just a hash or a cryptographic number
entry,
and that's an entry. And we don't know who you are. We cannot de-anonymize you. We cannot go back and know that this is X or this is Y, and the X said this or Y said that, right? Because there are many communities that you may not want to come out and give up your anonymity. You may want to choose to stay anonymous and then ask questions or participate in debates and so on and so forth. The other thing is about toxicity and moderation. Every single community owner is responsible for their own moderation. And we then have a collective moderation panel which can circumvent the community moderation process that exists. But we cannot define what content is good or bad for you or your community. You define what is good or bad for your community. You collectively define what you want to do as a community together, right? And even when you onboard users, you get lifetime value out of those users. So if you onboarded me, for example, and if I was to make transactions or create engagement on the platform that I get rewarded for, every time I get rewarded, you will continue to get rewarded for that. And if I onboard somebody else, even then for that individual, you will continue to get something. So there is continuous lifetime value for women, which is being derived out of the platform for all the actions they take in building the network effect.
Wow. All right. It sounds fascinating. And of course, it needs some time to obviously wrap your head around also, because while we've heard of, let's say, a lot of these blockchain use cases, it's it's still sort of coming about. We're yet to see real live, let's say, utility and value being shown beyond, let's say, the monetary aspect, which I think every early
Yeah,
platform
and
sort
that's
of
it.
caught on
Yeah,
to.
correct. That's really about being a digital asset like any share or
Right.
any other asset, which becomes speculative in nature in that sense.
Exactly, exactly. So, Tarun, on that note, Tarun, I'm going to take a quick break and then we continue the conversation. Let's come right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are in conversation with Mr. Tarun Katial around the platform of, the Web3 platform that Eve World is. And you've obviously said you're launching your first app, the Coto app, which I think it stands for Come Together,
Correct. It
or
stands to come together.
abbreviation of that. And that is the first sort of manifestation of this community that you'll be launching. What is that? What's the core, let's say, objective? Is it what you just mentioned? Do you think, is that going to be the home for where people connect and engage with their community members? Is there more plans to also build alternate products on the same platform? Could you tell us a little bit about the roadmap ahead?
Yeah, I think the roadmap is really about making sure that women get identified and get rewarded for the work they do. And by identified, I mean recognized, not really identified in the sense of making sure that their privacy is taken care of.
Hmm.
So the roadmap is that we start with giving all women who come in as creators on the platform verification NFTs, which allows them to be called out as
Hmm.
creators of different kind of genres. They could be of wellness, they could be of entertainment, they could be of news, they
Nice.
could be just laughs, right? A community
Yeah.
builder that wants to
Yeah.
have women come in laugh every morning. So the first step in all of this is to issue verification NFTs. We then move to issuing recognition NFTs. Recognition NFTs take into account proof of work, which is what I was
Hmm.
talking to you about, adding members into your community. As you add members and new members into your community, as you add value by referrals into the community, you get rewarded for that, right? And eventually, this recognition NFT can be traded or can be converted into either liquidity through an NFT platform or can be converted into utility tokens, which will be the Coto token, which will have a token generation event in some time. And then you have real solid value to trade or to liquidate for yourself, right? That's
Right.
really the roadmap. On top of the roadmap is a strong loyalty program for members, which is built around loyalty points, which is outside of the token program. So this is not a crypto program, but it still allows for members to be able to get brand discounts, to be able to get premium features, to be able to get access to premium content, so on and so forth. So that's the second part of the platform. And as we go forward, clearly we will think of building connections with more Web3 use cases like converting content into NFTs and allowing users to mint their own NFTs and building an NFT marketplace for that, and or even connecting our users into building avatars on metaverse, different kind of metaverse
Nice.
platforms, and so that's all in the roadmap. First, we start with building communities, allowing every woman to build a community. The biggest community program that we're running is around geographies. So it's a
Hmm.
state-wise, city-wise community creator program where we are building out city advisory boards of women who are prominent in every city who will come in as
Nice.
the city advisory board. We are then building out city chapters in all the top 23 cities in the country where different diverse women, whether it's college going, whether it's a gynecologist, whether it's a beautician, whether it is a doctor, all of them come together as one big community, say a Lucknow chapter or a Indore chapter or a Mumbai chapter. And we then go down to even at an area level where we encourage women to get onto a specific pin code and build their communities in those
Nice.
areas. And then there are vertical communities around, obviously, around themes like health and fitness and cooking and grooming and financial independence and careers and laughs and so on and so forth, right? So it's a both a vertical and a horizontal plan where we want to make sure that if you have a desire for connecting with somebody for a specific subject or topic or just in an area or globally, you can find a community that suits you.
Wonderful. And you mentioned geography. My next question was actually going to be, how wide are you opening the network? Is it going to be India specific today, or given that it's potentially global, are you also going to go global from day one, or is that sort of further
The
down the line?
platform is open globally from day one. Some of the
Yeah.
key markets that we will create a network effect or a network flywheel or enable the network flywheel will be which are MENA in India. But
Mhm.
we think that this is just, it is what it is. So it's for you to
Yeah.
utilize in any part of the world. Yeah.
And another aspect which I'm sure you've questioned already is that obviously you're trying to build a safe space for women to come and have a voice and create this community. It's also very participative, also by women. So how are you doing this sort of gatekeeping? How are you automating, like, who gets to join? How do you verify someone is a woman if you don't
Yeah.
know their identity in any way?
No, super question. So we are using facial recognition
Okay.
as our entry point. And then there is a fallback mechanism to a facial recognition, which is your government ID.
Okay.
But at the first level, it's facial recognition. Facial recognition is good for about 90% of use cases, but there will be an accuracy issue. And for
Mhm.
that, then we have a fallback with government IDs.
Okay, so it's a verified sort of a login,
Yeah,
a verified
yeah,
authenticated platform. Even though if you're
yeah.
not sharing it or you're not accessing it, you are verifying. So it's
Yeah,
not
we're making sure. Yeah, we verify you and then we forget that we verified
nice,
you.
very nice. And also, then the corollary to that question is, obviously, since you are gatekeeping and obviously doing this for the safety of the community as a platform, do you think this will always remain for women and with no participation by men at all, or is that a conscious call? Is that something you
For
want to
now, it's a conscious call.
attempt?
This is a question
Yeah,
that I get asked quite often, but I
yeah,
think we are quite committed to creating the free space for women first. There
right,
could be opportunities where eventually, if a certain community wants to open themselves up to more genders, then it'll be upon them. But
right.
we are building a Coto inclusivity project, which is around anybody who feels like a woman. So there are
Right.
many, binary genders and
Of course.
subgenders now where people may not really identify themselves as men, and so for everybody outside of whoever feels like a man but they feel
Right.
like a woman, we
Right.
want to make sure we give them the opportunity.
No, that's actually yeah, that is thoughtful and of course relevant in current times.
Yeah.
So Arun, you mentioned this is obviously an ambitious platform, and it's kudos that you and the team have taken this up to solve for this, and it stands in a place, I guess, of many such attempts at platforms probably haven't been done very very focused on, let's say, certain themes. I know there have been platforms and apps going after, let's say, parenthood and mothers and close communities around that. The health, mentioned that you mentioned that health is probably one of those strong areas where there have been a lot of women centric communities around sexual health and so on and so forth. What do you think is going to be the breakout sort of use case or opportunity that you hope people and women will sort of adopt this for, like,
I'm
make
hoping
it?
it's just
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's just connections,
Hmm.
human connections, right?
Right.
And I think that would make us really, really excited and happy. Everything will make us happy, but I think human connections, right? If women
Right.
were to find this as the place to build human connection with other women, build their own sisterhood, build their virtual friends, their virtual sisters, their virtual guides, mentors. That will be enough, right? Whether that's in a specific area of parenting or wellness or gossip or Bollywood or
Right.
whatever or Hollywood. I I mean, we are not hell bent on that, right? We are hoping that people
Right.
will come and set up communities of of like-minded friends and family, and want to onboard more and more of people who have more connections like that, and say, hey, come in and join us and have fun with us. Because finally, the platform is about happiness. Yeah. It's about all of us being happy together.
Right.
Let's not, there will be the Q&A aspect to it where I come looking for answers.
Right.
But the best answer that you can find is that this is a place where I hang with my friends.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And I think the fact that it's Web3 from day one is probably going to help enable a lot of these new things. We'll definitely be looking forward to that. I think people themselves don't know how it can benefit them. So I'd be really interested to see how it plays out.
Correct.
When it launches.
No, correct. But I mean, we want to make this as easy and as anxiety-less as possible. So that's why we don't want to compartmentalize women, and we don't want to define what they must and mustn't like.
No, that's also a good initiative. I guess the community will automatically play out and sort of find its way as you seed it, as more and more women come on board. As closing notes, of course, you are a new startup, even though, like you said, personally, you've been part of these iconic, platforms which have seen massive growth. Today, what is it that you're looking for in the team, in the next steps as you build your product out? If there's any shout out you want to do to people who are listening to this show, what should they expect? Women who are listening, where should they connect with you, and then of course connect with the platform? Where can they find it? If you can share some closing.
Happy for any woman from any hue, any background, creator, not creator, just any woman who wants to hang with other women, have a lot of fun, get a lot of questions answered, and build a space for themselves. Please land on www.coto.world. We are giving you early access to the tribe. We are giving you early access to our recognition platform, our NFT platform, etc. So look forward to having you there. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very, very active there. Just my name, Tarun Katial. Also on Twitter, @Tarun Katial. Happy to help you build any of your efforts around financial independence, around micro entrepreneurship, or just answer any questions that you may have around what we can do for you on Coto. Personally, I think that women who want to get into consumer tech businesses, this could be a great opportunity, both on the technical and the non-technical side. I'll tell you that our entire team of designers, right, the UI UX designers, are all women. And my co-founder, Aparna, insisted that we only hire women, because she said that only a woman can understand, what should be the level of intensity or level of ease that we should develop on the UX. And so and even our head of iOS development on the front end side is a woman. And so even on the engineering side, we look for more and more women, and that's really the effort on an ongoing basis.
No, I think that's an absolutely, I would say, necessary part of the ecosystem you're enabling. I think a lot more women getting into tech and being in tech, being able to work on products for women is really great. So kudos to that, and of course, congratulations on the success of the company so far and the launch coming up. And thank you so much for sharing the journey with us, Tarun. This has been very inspiring. I'm hoping that people who are listening to the show will reach out, find the Coto app, and of course the platform that you're building, and really see something useful for them and the community. Thank you so much. For everyone else listening, please, if wherever you're listening to this podcast, leave us a rating and a review. It will also help spread the word. And of course, if you want to reach out to Tarun, we'll share his LinkedIn and details published right below where you see this. And look forward to seeing the Coto app in action. Even though we may not be able to I may not be able to log in. I hope to see a lot of my friends and
your sister, your friend,
around.
your wife, if
everywhere.
You're married, or your mother, anybody. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and we're going to stay in touch. Yeah.
Thank you, Tarun. Thank you. Take care.